Hello, children. Welcome back to our English class. We were doing The Portrait of a Lady by Khushwant Singh, which talks about the old grandmother and her lookup and the relationship, the importance of relationship. This is the theme of this particular lesson. Now, children, we have seen how the changes come about in the life of Khushwant Singh and the grandmother, and not only in the life but also in their relationship. As time passes, as Khushwant Singh grows up, there is a big change, a drastic change that comes about in their relationship. In the beginning, we have seen that the grandmother and Khushwant Singh were very good friends. Khushwant Singh, when he was a kid, he was left with his grandmother because his parents had to go out and work in the city. So he was left all alone with the grandmother. And the grandmother daily, she used to wake him up, dress him up, take him to school, and then wait at the temple. She used to read the scripture, whereas Khushwant Singh used to sit there and learn alphabets, and the holy scriptures were taught to him. And the grandmother daily, she used to feed the dogs the stray dogs with stale chapati. So life was very comfortable, very soothing. They became a inseparable part of each other. And while she used to do all these things, continuously her lips were moving in a prayer. Okay. And when she used to get him dressed up, the prayer used to be louder, but otherwise an inaudible prayer with and her hands continuously telling the beads of the rosary. And then a change comes back in this life, when a turning point comes back when his parents return and they take Khushwant Singh and his grandmother to the city, where he goes to school, and where his grandmother is not allowed to accompany him to school, whereas he goes by school bus. He learns the Western science, music, and all the things that city schools would give, okay, to students for their all-round development. But as far as grandmother was concerned, she was very unhappy because holy scriptures were not taught, and they were taught music. Music was, as far as she was concerned, she had a concept that music was the monopoly of harlots and beggars. Now, as Khushwant Singh grew up, he went to the university. Now, the ultimate thing, the link in the city life between them was their room that they shared. But when he went to the university, he was given a separate room. And now, the ultimate, the bond between them, which was the room, had also come to an end. Now the grandmother became all the more lonely. She was isolated in a room. So she accepted the isolation and she did not talk to anyone. The whole day what she did was spinning the wheel, talking to no one around. And then she took up, in the village she used to feed the stray dogs. Now here she took up feeding the sparrows. She was very happy doing that. And then now when Khushwant Singh finished with his university studies, he decided to go abroad for higher studies. And in the beginning he thought the grandmother would be very sad, but the grandmother did not show any emotions. She accompanied him to the station, railway station, and kissed him. And he thought that he would not, when he returned after 5 years, he would not meet his grandmother again. But this did not happen. When he returned back, he found his grandmother waiting for him where he had left, that is, at the station. And she kissed him. She took him along with her. And when they reached the house, she gathered all the women folk in the neighborhood, and she started singing, thumping the old drum. Okay, and she started singing the song, and she was so into it that she forgot that she is old, she was sick, all these things she forgot, and she continuously was thumping on the drum. At last, these people had to force her to stop singing and overstraining herself, overstraining herself. And it was the first time that he had seen that his grandmother was not praying. Okay, otherwise, throughout her life, what she had done, or whenever the time since Khushwant Singh had started seeing her, he had seen only with inaudible prayer, her lips moving in inaudible prayer, and a hand turning the beads of rosary. Okay, but this was the first time when he did not see anything of that sort. So we stopped with this. So today we'll finish off the lesson. A little bit of it is left. We'll see what happens after that. The next morning she was taken ill. So the next morning, maybe because of overstraining or maybe because overexcitement, she became very ill. It was a mild fever, and the doctor told us that it would go. So it was not a big issue, it was not a big disease or something, it was just a mild fever, a little fever that had come on her. And the doctor was called, and the doctor informed them that it would go away very fast. He gave the medicines, she was medicated. But my grandmother thought differently. She told us that her end was near. So his grandmother actually, she did not accept the words of the doctor. She said, no, my end has approached, I'm going to die. Because it said, I don't know how far it's true, but it said that the people who are about to die, they feel it, that death is approaching them. So maybe that particular sense had come upon this grandmother also. But the doctor, he said, no, it's just a mild fever, so she'll overcome it. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life, she had omitted to pray. She was not going to waste any more time talking to us. So she told that as the days are nearing and she has lost a lot of time in singing and enjoying without prayer and all. So as the last chapter of her life, that is death, is approaching her, and she has left praying. So now she cannot waste time talking to these people. Now she has to go back to her prayers, okay, before dying. We protested. So these people did not like that concept of grandmother, that she is going to die. They felt that she's just depressed or something like that. So they protested. They said, no, you're not going to die, you'll live a long life. But she ignored our protests, and they even said, don't pray, you take rest. But she ignored all these protests and she continued. She lay peacefully in bed praying and telling her beads. So she very comfortably, peacefully, calm, quietly, she lay on the bed, and her lips were moving in the same inaudible prayer, and her hands turning the beads, telling the beads of rosary. Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. A peaceful pallor spread on her face, and we knew that she was dead. So before they could say anything, before they could think that, okay, death is coming to her, suddenly what happened, that her lips stopped. Means there was no movement of her lips, and her rosary that she was telling, it fell off her hands, and she lay there completely lifeless, motionless, and there was a peaceful, calm and peaceful pale color on her face. And this, they could make out from this that she was no more, she was dead. We lifted her from off the bed, and as is customary, laid on the ground and covered her with a red shroud. So shroud means the cloth that is laid on the dead body. That particular cloth is known as a shroud, and in Indian tradition we use red color to adorn the dead body or the cover the dead body. So here she, as it was customary, she was taken off the bed and she was laid down, and she was covered with a red cloth or red shroud. After a few hours of mourning, we left her alone to make arrangements for the funeral. So after a few hours of crying and mourning and Mourning, I hope you know what mourning means, grieving for someone's death or grieving for something. So after leaving, after a little mourning and everything, they had to make arrangement for her funeral. So all of them left for that. In the evening, we went to her room with a crude stretcher to take her to the cremated, to be cremated. So in the evening, it was a cremation time, and they went with a stretcher to her room to take her for the cremation. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. So it was evening. So the sun, the color changing of the sun, sorry, and the sun, the light of the room, the light of the sun had lit up the room and veranda of the grandmother. We stopped halfway in the courtyard, all over the veranda and in her room, right up to where she lay, dead and stiff, wrapped in red shroud. Thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. So they had to stop at the veranda, at the courtyard. They could not enter into the veranda because from where her body lay, from there till the veranda, the whole place was covered with a lot of thousands of sparrows. But now there was no chirping. Like earlier when grandmother was there, they used to make a bedlam of chirping. They used to jump around, hop around. But now there was no chirping. They were sitting quietly and watching the dead body. So this is what even the birds realize. Okay, the pain of parting from someone they love or someone who loves them. So here they could make out that emotional attachment between grandmother and these birds. We felt sorry for the birds, and my mother fetched some bread for them. She broke it into little crumbs, the way my grandmother used to, and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of the bread. When we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. So you can see that here, although his mother, who felt sorry for these birds, that now onwards there won't be anyone to feed them. So what she did was she took some bread, she tore them into pieces and threw them towards the birds as the grandmother used to do. But this time none of the birds took notice of those breadcrumbs. They were least bit bothered. They did not want to have it. And when the body was taken away, the birds they flew away without even touching or giving a last glance at the breadcrumbs. And next morning, the sweeper, the person who used to sweep the room and all, that person swept away the breadcrumbs. So even you can see the animals, they feel sorry for the death of someone who is very near and dear to them. Even they have emotions. But we human beings, how far do we feel for someone? This is the question that we have to answer. Do we really feel for the death of someone? Do we really feel sorry for our grandparents? Okay, do we really love them? Or have we just used them throughout our life? These are the things that we need to think about, feel about, and do something for it. And with this lockdown, you have enough and more time to think about them, talk with them, understand them, go near them, help them out with their life. Okay, children, tomorrow we'll discuss the question answers. With this, we come to the end of today's class. Thank you. Have a good day.